My name's Lewis. I'm the producer of this show, and thank you for coming out. If you like what you see tonight, tell your friends. If you don't like what you see, tell your mother-in-law. Our comedian style of comedy is his own invention. As you noticed on the posters, he calls it PG-16. No foul language, but does delve into some adult concepts. Now, if you like Sunday school material, when you come to the adult concepts, plug your ears and you will enjoy the rest of the show. I want you to put your hands together and give a warm Salisbury welcome to, from Phoenix, Arizona, retired science teacher, America's favorite old man, Arizona Lou. Hi, I'm Arizona Lou. Thank you for letting an old guy up here. You ask, how old?
How old are you?
You didn't say anything. You don't care, do you?
No, because I'm pretty old myself.
Oh, you are? Well, I'm...
How old are you?
If I tell you when I was born, can you figure it out?
Probably.
Okay, I'm so old I was born in MCMXLI.
Before the dinosaurs. I'm almost 79, so how old are you?
Over 79, I'm over 80.
Ooh, close.
In fact, I'm 81. Thank you for that little sympathy applause. Can anybody beat 81?
Over yonder, right there, in the gray shirt. No,
You can beat it. Well, we will respect our elders. And at my age, I do silly stuff, like trying to still stay alive until the show's over. And I worry a lot about what's going to fall off next. And my last name isn't even Jenner. I'm keep looking for body parts that are not saggy or wrinkled. I'm so wrinkled. The other day I had trouble adjusting my tidy whities. Until I realized I wasn't wearing any. Must have been Alzheimer's. You know, experts have come up with 10 early signs of Alzheimer's. Number one on their list is you forget stuff. Well, I think that should be the whole list. And then there's a change in mood. I've had a change in mood. Oh, I'm happier than ever. I forgot everything to be unhappy about. And then there's difficulty with familiar tasks, like using a can opener. I was wondering when my dog was getting so skinny. Oh boy, that got the room quiet all of a sudden. Don't worry, I don't have a dog. Anymore, yes. And sometimes it's embarrassing. This morning I forgot to pull up my zipper. Not as bad as yesterday, I forgot to pull it down. And they wondered why I was carrying a big clock in front of me in Walmart to cover my Target. And then there's avoiding people in social situations. That's not my problem because I'm with you folks. I always enjoy it every time I come here to El Paso. Then there's losing stuff. How do you misplace a minivan? Give me a big parking lot and I'll figure out how. It would be so easy for me to remember to look at my row number. But no, I'm going into Walmart to buy a big clock. And then there's difficulty with words, time, and place. And if I'm lucky, I'll remember what I want to say tonight. And if you're lucky, I'll wander off somewhere. Silver alert! I could be on one of those electronic highway signs. I'd be famous. I'm so famous that, well, nobody's ever heard of me before. And when you saw my poster, you said, "Who's that?" But I could be famous with those signs. Tell you such important stuff you need to know while you're driving, like how many minutes to an intersection that nobody cares about. In Pennsylvania, they had one that said, motorcycle. Do we have anybody here who rides motorcycles? Oh. Motorcycles. Orange, you glad you looked? I did at the signs and have no idea how many motorcycles I took out. Driving here, I carefully read every one. 10 and 2. Went the speed limit. And can't tell you how many accidents I caused. But I can tell you how many been vaccinated. And then they distract you more than with your cell phone. With your cell phone, the traffic demands you can put it down. With those signs, they distract you with 3 messages on one sign. And the first message usually is caution, caution, caution. Well, why'd you turn the stupid thing on if there wasn't something to be cautious about? And then they put blank screens in between those 3, so you end up with 5 messages. And by the time you get to the sign, to the 3rd message, you know you should be cautious about something, but have no idea what it is. I just hope I don't wander off to Chicago. Did you see the latest news there? Shootings are up 88% over last year. Murders are up too, but only 72%. Obviously, we need to give Chicago more gun classes. Improve their aim. Now, you people in this part of Salisbury have terrible aim. Yeah, I know, because of the puddle in front of your urinals.
I'm glad I don't have to go in there and clean it.
And I don't know what you ladies are laughing about.
Uh-oh, here we go.
In Chattanooga, Tennessee, they have targets in their urinals in the American Legion. A sticker of Hanoi Jane. They still have the puddles. Of course, Gary back there at the bar doesn't have enough loft to reach a target anyway. I go on these national tours for veterans because I appreciate what they've done for our country, and the families, because it's a sacrifice. Sacrifices don't end there. It takes a lot of work to run a post. So when you see something that needs to be done, do it. Volunteer to do it. Don't leave it all to one person. And he didn't tell me to say that. Let's get acquainted. Let's hear it by applause if you or your family served in the Air Force. Okay, in case you don't understand, some people call it the chair force.
My nephew's still in it. He's still in the chair.
You guys were late coming to the game. You had to wait for them to invent airplanes. Let's hear it by applause if you or your family served in the Navy.
Hoorah, Navy!
Did you know Navy is an acronym?
Never.
Navy. Never again volunteer yourself. Well, let's hear it by applause if you or your family served in the Army. Did you know Army's an acronym?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. What do you mean, oh?
Uh-oh.
It stands for Aren't Really Marines Yet. Now, I think I heard some Marines applauding. Let's hear it by applause if you or your family served as a Marine. Did you know that's an acronym? I'll bet you can't wait. Muscles are required. Intellect not essential.
Oh, yeah.
While we're busy applauding here, let's hear it by applause if you're over 45. Either you're Alzheimer's? You didn't applaud. Well, keep the applause going if you've had your colonoscopy. Those of you who haven't, you better hop to it. Because they save lives. I had my most recent one without anesthesia. I looked it up on their internet. It seemed like a good idea.
There's no backing out once you're in that.
Yeah, you're right. The day before you have to clean out your system, well, I did that, but I went the extra mile. I don't know if my doctor noticed it or not, but I did some exercises with a butt plug. Sounds like some of you know about that stuff. Laying there on the table, I'd never seen my butt on a big screen in 4K. But I did find out what the final approach looks like for a gay guy. Before he went in, the doctor said, "Lou, I'm going to use some numbing gel." I couldn't stop him in time. Wouldn't regular gel be more fun? His high-tech probe was like a train going through a little tunnel, with an air compressor to inflate the tunnel around the tight corners. He said, "Lou, if it gets painful, let me know and I'll slow down." So I did, and he did. Everything worked out. Oh yes, he had a headlight so he could see where he was going. He had a video camera so I could see where he was going. And he found a little polyp so small it wouldn't have been found otherwise, and picked it off with his mushroom picker. Rinsed it all off with his garden hose, and cleaned everything up with his shop vac. Of course, he had medical terms for that.
Yeah.
They put me in a wheelchair after it was over, wheeled me to the edge of the parking structure. I jumped out, ran up to my van, stopped by the grocery store and gym on the way home, and the next one I'm doing the same way. Let's hear it by applause if you are a middle child. I was too. They say we have problems if we're a middle child. I don't know about that. My younger brother George, now he's 75 and he's bigger than me. My older brother Stanley lived in Hutchinson, Kansas. That's where we lost him. Never did find him. I guess he forgot to click his heels together. And I'd Need to remind you young people that's an old movie with a scarecrow and a little dog. Stanley was into supplements, and now he has the healthiest prostate of anybody in the Greenwood Cemetery. He was also into real estate. Anybody here have any real estate? Well, Stanley, he's into real estate. Real estate, if you count one duplex that was still standing only because the west half was leaning against the right half. I'm not saying Stanley was stupid, but speaking of stupid, I got lost driving here with my GPS. You wonder what that is? Well, GPS stands for, I forgot. Maybe it's, for some of you here, Grandpa's Super. Or if you're from San Francisco, gay and perfectly satisfied. In my case, maybe it's geezer, plain and stupid. I mean, like the other day I picked my electric toothbrush up from where I dropped it and brushed my teeth. Hey, I was just standing there. I hadn't done anything yet. It's waterproof. I rinsed it off, and every week I clean the toilet. Well, back to the duplex. Stanley let Billy move in rent-free in exchange for fixing up the place. You can imagine how that went. Billy moved in a carload of cockroaches. That's not true. It was worse. He moved in Dawn, his girlfriend.
Sorry.
At least I think that's what was under all those tattoos. She was so wrinkled it was hard to tell. No wonder she was a chain smoker. Has anybody here smoked any chains? They're hard to light. But Dawn had a winning smile. If you count 3 teeth. But they made an excellent cigarette holder. She could puff her way right through a Kansas tornado. I need to explain to you people with Alzheimer's, that's the same movie with the scarecrow and the little dog. Mother used to, oh yes, Dawn's pride and joy was not the giant screen TV she had blaring all the time. It was a long extension cord she used to plug it in at the neighbor's house. She was fancy though. She had a curved shower rod attached to the outside of the house because nothing worked inside. So she could use the garden hose. Mother used to always say, "Louis, hold your horses." And then you remember in the 70s, during the space age, it was cool your jets. And what do you say nowadays if you want? What do they say for people to slow down?
Chill.
Chill? Yes, yes. Or chill out, take a chill pill. If you go to Hawaii, you want to remember Hakuna your tatas. We have about 4 people that know that. Well, for the rest of you, explanation is that's short for don't have a rack attack. And we have one gentleman here who doesn't quite understand yet. That means calm your tits. Somewhere between the horses and the jets, it was hold the phone. Now most of you remember that that's singular because there was only one and it was fastened to the house with a wire. We didn't use our phones while we were driving because the cord wasn't long enough. And we had to watch where we were going. Well, Today means something entirely different. I mean, here's my phone. Watch my video. Don't hold it like that. You might send it to telephone never land. Don't hold it by the side. You might send it to mode to explode. So you have to cradle it on the top of the palm of your hand. How many have done that, dropped it, and broken the screen? Yeah. Now the rest of you need to start watching more porn. And there's the way I held my first grandchild. All it took was 10 seconds for me to understand crazy grandparents. Let's hear it by applause if you're a crazy grandparent. I'm proud of it. There's other ways to hold grandkids. This one leaks. Here, Mommy. Stinky baby. Or when they get older, you can hold them like this. I hate ceiling fans. Last week I lost 3. Well, they still run, but they're unbalanced. I've got t-shirts. I've got your size. All profits go to Alzheimer's research, if I remember. They're $10, and if you get one after, depending on how my comedy career goes, after 5 more years, you might have something good for $12, or something good for wiping your dipstick. I've got other stuff. I have albums. You've never seen an album that'll fit in your pocket. This is a flash drive. It opens up, plugs into your computer. Over 2.5 hours of comedy video for $20. All profit, of course, goes to Alzheimer's. So check it out if you want to share the experience. I have the one volume is more family friendly than the other. Guess this one sells the most.
Where does it go?
Yeah. I've got stickers. They're cheap. $1 donation to Alzheimer's. Give me $1 donation and you'll get a sticker. If you give me a $5 donation, all going to Alzheimer's, I'll sign it. In fact, I'll sign anything for $5. No, not down there. And I've got, after the show, if you want to be on my fan web page, go to ArizonaLou.com or Google America's Favorite Old Man. I'll be #1 for some strange reason. But if you go there, you'll see my fan web page. I have over 600 people on my fan web page, and if you want to get a picture with me after the show, put you on my fan web page. That's always kind of fun. No charge for that. And I've got pictures. I don't know who'd want a picture of me, but it makes good confetti. And stuff to stop by over there and look at some stuff. And oh yes, I've got tip buckets. The donate for Alzheimer's. 100% of what you put in that bucket will go to Alzheimer's research. And tips for Lou, 100% of what you put in that bucket will go to me.
Yes, Mommy.
At my age, there's some things I just don't understand. I don't understand why they make the backs of TVs all black. It's dark as midnight back there. And hooking up your equipment is like plugging your hard pin into a black hole. And if you get the wrong hole, you say, I meant to do it that way. And if you're from San Francisco, you aim for the wrong hole. Because you like it that way. And I don't understand why Sony puts such crummy keyboards on their laptops. I had one, and I went to the Dominican Republic, and the computer would randomly leave out or duplicate letters. And when I went to the Dominican Republic, it left out the L, and I called it the Dominican Republic. Another time I emailed my daughter, I just got booked for 3 minutes at Harris Showroom. The computer left out the K, and I'd actually written, I just got booed for 3 minutes. I went to, I don't understand why Amazon sold me the hardcover edition of a book for my Kindle. How can that be? There's no cover. And how can it be hard when the book's software? Nothing about this body gets hard. Ever. No, you're laughing, but you're not there yet, Ocean City. Oh, I take that back. One thing in the morning keeps getting harder and harder. Rolling out of bed. I went kiteboarding in Maui. Let's hear it by applause if you've heard of kiteboarding. I've got a 1.5 minute video of kiteboarding me when I was in San Carlos, Mexico on my albums. It's also on my website. You're flying a huge kite up in the air while it's pulling on a wakeboard or a surfboard. And while I was in Maui kiteboarding, I saw an 85-year-old guy getting a kiteboard lesson. I took care of him, and now I'm the oldest surviving kiteboarder. The week I was there, or was it several weeks, we didn't have the usual wind for kiteboarding, so I did a lot of SUP. That's S-U-P, stand-up paddleboarding. As opposed to what I do up here, suck. Come on, S-U-C, stand-up comedy. The first challenge for me was to get the 12-foot long board down to the water. And it went pretty well until I got stuck on the beach in the sand with my little electric rascal scooter. So I decided to hold the board sideways. And that went pretty well until I took out 2 kids, bump, bump, and a mother breastfeeding a baby, bump, boom, who was offending an old man until I took him out, Dion, solved that social problem. Well then, when I got the board back down into the water finally, and I had to go from my knees to standing up, and it looked something like this. I should have had a walker. But I did get a wave from a lifeguard. Hey, get out of here. This beach is closed to old men with great big boards and little tiny Speedos. Don't visualize that one. I really did catch my first wave. To catch that wave, it took me 2 years. But there on the Kailua Harbor, I rode that little wave 561 feet. My nurse never caught me. The last Saturday I was there, it was windy for a change, so I was kiteboarding on my custom fish without foot straps over the boneyard. Now you wonder what that is. That's stupid. The boneyard is like, that's where the coral reef is, just below the surface of the water. It's like Mother Nature said, let's put some big rocks there just for him. Foot straps would have kept me on the board. Well, I blew a jibe, and the kite dragged me over the coral reef, and I fed the fish with donations of skin, and this really happened this way. donations of skin from my right leg, my left foot, and another body part I don't talk about much. You ladies are dirty. It was my left thigh. The fish said, for the food. Well, flying back to Phoenix on Hawaiian Airlines, I got very well acquainted with the airline bathrooms. It's like Boeing engineer said, let's measure people and make our bathrooms 3 inches smaller. And then they situate them so the wall's curved and you have to stand like this to be in position. And then the door opens in, so when it's time for you to leave, you have even less space than you started with. And they rub it in with a note that says pull, which means you have to touch the place after everybody else has touched it, after they've touched their stuff. And you're really out of space if you're a young guy with a boner. Gives a whole new meaning to the expression hitting the wall. For me, it looked something like this. You know what I just did? I just raised the toilet seat, and you ladies didn't even notice. And I wouldn't have had to, because I'm in this bathroom by myself. Nobody would have known. Besides, it's an imaginary bathroom. I'm going to do it again, and I want to hear some whoops, holler, applause, cheers, or some encouragement. What are you applauding for? Whose side are you on anyway?
Good job, Dan.
That's all right. She's got you well trained. We understand. And then you take care of business. You can't rush a good thing. You'll have to change this visual if you're a lady. Or a daddle. Do you know what a daddle is? Don't ask, don't tell. The flush is so violent the toilet paper blows in the wind. And then there's no delay on the water faucet, so, well, you're not going to get your hands down there while the water's still running. You're not going to get there in time, sort of like the last time you had diarrhea. And then the opening on the paper towels holder is narrower than the paper towels, and they're packed in so tight you're guaranteed to get confetti. And the spring on the waist door is so strong you get the confetti back in your face. That was the person before me. Well, my next trip was the opposite direction, to the Outer Banks. Let's hear it by applause if you've heard of the Outer Banks. Oh, we didn't quite get everybody. How about applause if you've heard of Hatteras Island? Kitty Hawk. Wright Brothers. Airplanes. You didn't applaud for airplanes. I'm worried about you. She didn't applaud until we got down to the Wright Brothers, but you finally recognized that. Well, it's all located off the coast of North Carolina with some of the best kiteboarding conditions in the world. When there wasn't enough wind to kiteboard with my friend Tim, we did SUP, stand-up paddleboarding. Well, I was barely able to balance on my board. He was on his doing yoga. For the flexibility, show off. Let's hear it by applause if you've ever done any yoga. And your name?
Shannon.
Shannon. Shannon, namaste. Now, Shannon understands, I need to explain to those of you who haven't done yoga, That's yoga speak for, hi y'all. I know about this yoga stuff because I took my first class on Hatteras Island for the view of the ocean. I had no idea that yoga could give me such a crick in the neck. Must have been all that spandex. How many of you go to the gym? Anybody here go to the gym? Well, if you've ever gone, not Planet Fitness, because they don't allow it, but the latest spandex that the ladies wear in the gyms, I don't know what it's called, but I'll describe it. It has what I would call a crack string, or maybe crack elastic. Fortunately, it's on the rear, so they don't know that you're staring. And it lifts and separates. And I'll leave it there. Heather, our instructor, said, just relax. Or she had us holding the 2x4. Now, you yoga types call that the plank position. That's like me telling you to relax with one foot on the dock and the other on the boat. I go down farther, but I'd hurt myself. Or drag him on the floor. You're not laughing because I'm not black. The hardest for me to hold was the doggy style. Now you yoga types call that the downward facing dog because you haven't yet invented the Gangnam style. That wasn't all I had to hold. I had a determined methane bubble that desperately wanted to reach the atmosphere. Now I need to explain to a couple of you that is a fart. With concerted effort I was able to hold it. Not the doggy style. After the class, Heather had us on her back on the floor, and she came around and used some smelly stuff to massage my head. This one. I just hope she didn't mess up my hair. That's a joke. This hair is a joke. What should be growing out here is growing out my ears. Well, at least it keeps the bugs out. My ex says, little keeps the bugs in with all the craziness. Ah. I have a special hairstyle. I call it the National Geographic hairstyle. I have 3 peninsulas. And the center peninsula is gradually becoming an island with less and less grass. I'm not the only one here tonight with a special hairstyle. We have someone with a Europa hairstyle, maybe more than one. You know what Europa is?
No.
Europa is the second moon of Jupiter, and it's the smoothest object on the solar system. Give a hand for Mr. Europa. Although you're not there yet, don't get discouraged. Keep working on it. Eventually you'll make it. Now those of you wearing caps, take off your caps. Let's see what you have for
That's not necessary.
There's another hairstyle. There's another hairstyle. It's the Io hairstyle. You know what Io is? It's the first moon of Jupiter, and it keeps getting massaged by the gravity of Jupiter, so it's the most volcanically active object in the solar system. And some of your hair reminds me of probably that, but that's okay. We won't embarrass people anymore. Well, maybe not.
Lou, you have to put the seat back down in there.
Put the seat down.
Yes, in the bathroom. You left it.
You missed the last 3 jokes because you were thinking about the toilet seat. 4 jokes. I didn't think you ladies cared. I thought in these situations you always hovered anyway.
It's worse to see the seat lifted.
I plan to live a long time. I got a hold of some string beans I tried to eat right that were so stringy by the time I finished eating them I'd already flossed my teeth. I don't know what this hip movement has to do with it. I don't take supplements like creatine. Those of you who've been to the gym, have you ever noticed the guys that do have those great big muscles? Well, they have little tiny thumbs. I've got little tiny muscles and a great big microphone. I went to Walmart. I don't park close to the door so I can stir up my tired blood as I run in for a few things. Running back to my van, a kid said, "Hey, Grandpa, how come you're running so fast?" "Well, you would be too, son, if you've been shoplifting." For string beans. I did go to the gym, and I've had a terrible time getting the 45-pound dumbbells home. You know, the free weights. Put one of those in my gym bag, I'd be so unbalanced. My ex would say, "Lou, you've always been unbalanced." I thought about putting one in each hand, but wouldn't it look suspicious leaving the gym with 2 gym bags? And I couldn't run. I had to quit doing the bench presses because they bolted them all down. I can tell that you haven't pressed any benches. But I went to the machines, and I recognized the machines from when I was a kid during the Spanish Inquisition. I see some of you realize that was 650 years ago. All they did is they painted them purple and added foam pads and logos. When I wanted to see some agony when I was a kid and say, "I'm going to go down the dungeon and visit the Inquisitor," you folks say strange things. You say, "I'm going to go down the street and visit my chiropractor." Inquisitors would put bodies in impossible positions. Well, when I was a kid, we called it Inquisition. You guys call it torture or yoga. Have you ever noticed from the pictures back then that the naked subjects on the rack always had a little white towel covering just their special spot? I was the towel boy. Hey, don't stretch them out yet. I've got the towel here. Hey, he couldn't help himself. His arms were all stretched out. I was his absolute high point. Oh, I forgot he was black. No, people wonder what kind of person would think of such stuff as that. Well, I didn't always go by Arizona Lou. Before 1912, when Arizona became a state, I went by Territory Lou. And before that, Caveman Lou. These keep coming and they get worse. Before that, Ditch Lou. I told you they'd get worse. It was just a little ditch. And then after it grew and grew. Grand Canyon Lou. And before that, Jurassic Lou. Oh. Now you probably think I'm from ancient history. I've always had trouble with history. Probably started in junior high social studies when I always seem to be distracted by a out-of-control boner. Now, some of you guys remember that age. It was my own. Didn't help that the fashion in those days was tight blue jeans. I'd look down to see if it was noticeable, then I'd look around to see if anybody would notice. Yes, Miss Perkins, the answers would. Row. Now, Louis, you know that's not right. Longfellow. Now, Louis, you're going to have to pay more attention. But, Miss Perkins, you don't know how hard it is. Visited the produce department. I picked out some bananas. And, well, at my age, it's nothing ever more than a banana in the pocket. I picked some bananas, and up came old Oscar. Now, I don't know if that was his real name, but he was a grouch. I said, I hope you find some good ones, but you can't have these, there's mine. Don't want them. Well, do you like to stand-up comedy? No. Do you like to laugh? No. I think his name was Oscar because he was behind me in the checkout, and when I left he said, good riddance. But don't judge Oscar. Maybe we don't understand what just happened. Maybe he just lost his wife and forgot where. Or worse yet, maybe he remembered where. Or maybe he forgot to pull out. Of course, the guy back there at the bar is trying to figure out how to get back in the first place. See, I told you I'd pick on people at the bar. That's your by applause if you save boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what branch of service were you affiliated with?
Moving. Moving service.
Army?
No, I'm not associated service.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm just a.
okay. Well, we understand. I asked for an applause, and you did this. Yeah.
I didn't salute.
When you get back to your neighborhood, explain to them that applause takes two hands and makes noise. They say every time I do that, I forget the question. Do you save boxes? Well, you better read your instructions because anytime you buy something, it says save the box. So back home in Phoenix, I have boxes for office chair, printer, scanner, mother-in-law. I'm getting boxes stacked so high I may have to move out into a box, which is going to be difficult with a mother-in-law. Actually, that's not true. She's dead. It's all right to laugh at that if you want to. She should be as old as I am. We had to move around our own pine box. And, well, I must confess, although I'm on tour, I'm dying. Well, you're dying too. We just don't know when. Hopefully after I do. I don't know where my body is going to go. Well, I do know where my body is going to go. It's going to go to the University of Tennessee Body Farm for forensic research. So I think that's kind of cool. And since you're dying, you better own up to it and take care of your PODs and advanced directives and things. Be nice to the people who will follow you. So take care of that. When I was a kid, well, you remember when we used to send Grandma to the old folks' home? Well, they decided that might make people feel like they're getting old, which we are, so you should own up to it. So they changed it to the senior center. And after about 25 years, in Dare County, North Carolina, they decided that might make people feel like they're getting old, so now they have the Dare County Older Adult Center. When I was a kid, we sent Grandma to the corner of the cave. I don't know how I'm going to leave this world, but when I leave this world, I want to be going as fast as I can. And you'd walk this way too if you had lost your balls. I want my obituary to read something like Arizona Lou died in an avalanche of boxes. Let's hear it by applause if you know how to drive a stick shift. I'm not talking about a boner, although some of you ladies drive those too. While we're on the subject though, I was part of a clinical study of Viagra. In Virginia, at the University of Longwood, it was a really stimulating situation. I expected it to be a lot harder. It was one of those double-blind studies. Even the researchers didn't know who was coming. They put us in hospital, there's more groaners coming. They put us in hospital gowns and we looked like Tent City. I was the only one without a rigid tent pole. Imagine propping your tent up with one of those things you get from Dollar Tree, a fun noodle. Not fun. We were bored stiff. Well, at my age, I was just bored. We played Monopoly until one of the guys knocked all the pieces off the board. It was a disaster when we tried to target practice. Our version of tag was Pokemon. Go! I hated it. I didn't have a good poker. They hated my favorite, Twister. When they saw me coming, they were scared stiff. We appreciated when the researchers gave us a shake break. They also gave us homework. One of the guys says, "Hey, Doc, can we help each other out?" "Well, let me look." Has to be hands-on, self-service, no double headers. I can explain that to some of you after the show. That homework is when I learned you don't need special expensive stuff in the tube if you go to Dollar Tree and get their hairstyling gel. Don't use it there in the store though. During the study, if I'd been Catholic after each session, I'd need confession. And the priest would give me a dishonorable discharge. During the study, I couldn't keep up. Couldn't keep my eye on the ball. Make that plural. One of the researchers said, "Lou, you're all nuts." And accused me of being a swinger. You got to keep them ventilated, you know. So I had to quit the study without giving them any bona fide data. And by the way, these t-shirts are good for taking care of your homework or taking care of your wall. I was also part of a study sponsored by Stanford University of posture and back pain. And Carson there examined my pelvis real closely. He had his mouth closed. He said, "Lou, your right hip is lower than your left hip. Carson, I can take care of that." "Oh, and Lou, you need more curve in your spine. Carson, I can take care of that too." "Oh, And Lou, your shoulders are rounded. You need to hold them back more. Carson, I can take care of everything. What's wrong with that guy? I don't know, but he sure has good posture. Yeah, after the show, stop by there and be generous with your tips, because Linda does a good job. Help put it together. And thanks to everybody to help me put this together. And I have something in my hand. I'm holding it. I don't believe it. That can't be. It's hard. It's mostly round. It's what's inside it that gives it its functionality. It's red on the tip. I know, I can feel it by the thumb action. I'm talented, I can spin it around. I might even let one of you blow it. This isn't dirty, it's clean. I washed it today. Lots. Let's hear it by applause if you want me to pull it out of my pants right now. You took a little thought for that one, didn't it? Well, let's hear it by applause if you don't want to see it. Now, sure, you didn't applaud either time. I'm worried about you. I know this is a tough decision. If you don't want to see it, hide your eyes on 3. 1, 2, 3. You're peeking. Well, this is an anemometer. The spinning magnets inside register the wind on your cell phone. It's good for kiteboarding, comedy. Blow on this.
No, hell no.
Blow on this side. Are you brave? Yay, give her a hand. I won't tell anybody what you just did. I won't have to. These 2 chickens over here will. I had voice surgery, and this is true. That's why I need a powerful PA system. And you ought to try doing stand-up comedy with a voice that sounds like Martha Stewart. Sometimes my voice goes up high. People will say, "Thank you for calling, ma'am." I'm not a ma'am. Oh, cell phones, phones don't make that noise anymore. I'm not a ma'am. Beep. Or I'll say, "Hello? May I please speak to the man of the house?" I am the man. Or worse yet, "Hello? Are your parents home?" "Yes, they're up on the mantle." They told us in life to earn everything, so they're in their urns. Hey, you people are fantastic. I enjoyed it. Thanks for coming. I'm glad I came. I'm glad you came. I'm Arizona Lou. I'm still alive.